guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Angel from Simply Angel Tia. For this tutorial, I'll be showing you guys how to crochet this pocket shawl. As you can see, this is my completed project here. I used two nice complementary colors. As you can see, it looks really nice to do this dark blue and this light purple, or you could call it dark pink. And also decided to do pockets. As you can see, these are the pockets for my shawl here. They're super deep. They go from here to here. And I added these nice decorative buttons. This is not functional at all, so the pocket doesn't shut like this, but it does make it look like it does. So this is just for decoration here. I also decided to do buttons. I did 3 buttons on this side. I started one here, and I went with one here and one here, so I have 3 on the side. Now you can either have these buttons as decorational, or they can be functional if you actually do end up buttoning up the front of the shawl, so it makes it look more like a poncho. So that's why I have these 3 here, but they could serve the purpose of just being there as a decoration, or they could be functional. For the shawl, I decided to use pretty much 2 stitches, very simple ones. For this blue on the side as well as the pockets, I did a single crochet in the back loop. That's why you can see this ribbled look, or the rib look here. And for this color in the middle, I decided to do half double crochet in the back loop as well. That's why it's a little bit looser and the pattern is a little bit wider compared to the tightness of this stitch. Now I also decided to do borders, and this goes all around the shawl. I decided to do a border of clusters of double crochet, and I have 3 double crochet in each stitch, and then I do it all around the shawl. And also decided to do the same bordering on top of the pocket. So as you can see here, the pocket is not just a straight line, it has these bumps here as well, which is the clusters of double crochet. Now in terms of sizing, this shawl is 18 inches wide this way, and then it's about 72 inches long. So this is for a client who's a tiny bit taller and bigger than me, so this is going to fit them perfectly. You can either make it in this size, or you can make it in a size that's gonna fit you or whoever you're making the shawl for. Okay, so as you can see, this is the other end of the shawl here. Just the same thing we just talked about with pockets and stuff like that. The pockets are super deep, so you can actually use it to, you know, carry things when you have the shawl on. And as you can see, I did the different color border there as well. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna show you guys how to do a small sample of this. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with a slip knot so we can do our foundation chain. So to do a slip knot, this is how I do it. Okay, that's my slip knot there. And then I'm going to do a chain that's probably about this long. I don't count chain for this project because there's no need to count it. Okay, so like I said, I just went with the measurements, which is about 70 inches for the length and about 18 inches wide. So for this particular sample, I'm just going to do it until I have the length that I think is reasonable to do this. So I think that's enough of a length there to do this sample. Okay, now that I have that, we're going to start doing our our single crochets in the back. So because this is our foundation chain, we're actually going to flip it like this. So we have the back of this, and as you can see, there's these bridges, look like bridges on top or behind the chain, while this side look like the V's, look like you have V's. So you're going to flip it like this, so it exposes this side that has the little tiny bridges. Okay, and now that you have that, you're going to skip this one where the chain the chain and the hook is coming from, and in this second one you're going to go and just do your single crochet there like this. Okay, and then you're going to go into the next one and do a single crochet, and then you're going to go into the next one and do a single crochet. Okay, and this is pretty much what you will do until the end of this row. So go ahead and do this, create your single crochets, And as you can see, you have these V's on this side like that, as well as the top. Okay, so go ahead and do that until you get to the end. When you get to the end, come back and I'll show you guys how to move on to the second row. Okay, so this is the end of your first row here. So you've worked along your foundation chain with this single crochet in the back of the chain, and as you can see, this is what we have here. Okay, and now to move on to the second row, we're going to start off at the end by doing a chain 1 and then turning your work over like this. Okay, now from here we're going to be doing the single crochets in the back loop only, and we're going to be going through the back loop of the stitch like this, as opposed to both. Okay, so you can either go through both like this, or you can go through the back, and in our case we're going to be going through the back loop only. Okay, so I'll show you what that looks like. So you have your row, the first row, and you're holding it like this, and then you're going to go ahead in the very first stitch right after the chain 1, you're going to go do your half double crochet, or like your single crochet in the back loop like that, and then you're going to do another single crochet in the next stitch, and then another one in the next stitch. And this is pretty much, so this second row is going to be a repeat of the next couple of rows, depending on how many rows you do for each color. For this color particularly, you're going to be repeating this particular stitch until you have the number of rows you require for this color. So for me, just to kind of bring the shawl back into focus here, so as you can see here, with using these two colors, this is what we're doing here. What we're doing is this part here, and I did 20 rows of the single crochet in the back loop for this blue color, and then when we change color to this purple, we're going to be doing 14 rows. And as you can see, because this is a tighter stitch, it looks so small compared to this. This is actually only 14 rows and this is 20 rows. So as you can see, it's a huge difference, but because it's a wider stitch, it builds up faster. This builds up really slow. So for doing this, we're going to be building this up, and then we're going to change the color to build the middle, and then again we're going to go back to the blue to finish it off with this color before we can do the borders as well as the pockets. For this particular tutorial, I'm not going to show you how to do the pockets, because all you do is you repeat this stitch that we're doing here with the pocket, and you make it into the size that you're looking for. So for this particular one, I did about, I think 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 17. I did 34 rows of this, and then I just did the border up here by doing this. So I'll show you guys how to do the border on the actual shawl body, but for the pockets I pretty much repeated this, and I repeated the bordering of it but in the same color. So I will not be showing you guys how to make and sew the pockets in, because when you have your square like that, then you just sew it into your shawl, and you can do it. What I did was I just did it from the base because I think it looks nice that the bordering looks like that, but you could have started your pockets from here up, or you could have started your pockets how I did it. So I'm not going to be showing you guys how to do this particular part, as well as sewing in the buttons, because it's literally just sewing in the buttons. There's nothing more complicated with that. Okay, so for now we're going to do these rows here, change it to this color, do that row, and then that's kind of how we're gonna end the video. Okay, so with this, go ahead and complete this second row by doing the single crochet in the back loop. When you get to this end here, come back and I'll show you guys how to start the third row. There's anything different, just except a little bit of something that I want to show you at the end. And for those of you who have seen my other videos, you know what I'm talking about, the way I go through both loops at the end of each row when we go through the back loop like this for the body. So see you in a bit. Okay, so this is the end of my second row, and as you can see, I did not go in the last stitch here, and this is why I wanted to come back and show you guys how to do this. So instead of going just in the back loop like that to do my single crochet, what I do for each row, when I get to the end and there's one stitch left, I actually go through both loops like that to finish off my row. So I do my single crochet, but I go through both loops like that. And the reason I do that is just kind of, for me, it makes it nice and straight, as opposed to doing just it through the back loop for the end one. I find that it's gappy, it leaves this little gap that looks weird like that. So for all of my work, whenever I work through the back loop, whether it's a single crochet, half double crochet, or double crochet, I actually do go through the back loop like this to finish. Oh, I go through both loops for the last stitch to finish it off like that. Okay, so and then what we do for the third row is we chain one again, and we turn our work around, and then we just repeat what we did for row 2 all the way to the end. So this is just pretty much a repeat until you attain the number of rows that you're looking for. Just remember, for me, you don't have to do the same, but for me, when I get to the last stitch, I will be going through the both loops like this, as opposed to the one loop for the last stitch. Every single time I bridge to the end of the row, I will be doing that. So go ahead and build the number of rows that you're looking for. For me, because this is a sample that I'm showing you guys, I'm going to do about 4 or 5 rows of this color, and then I'll come back and we will change color to the purple color, and I will be showing you guys how to do the half double crochet in the back loop with that color. And then of course I'll let you guys finish it off by changing it back to whatever color you're changing it to, which for mine it will be the blue, and then we will finish off the shawl. Okay, so go ahead and build these up, and then come back when you're ready to change color and stitch. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay guys, so I have done 6 rows of the single crochet in the back loop, as you can see here. Okay, so again, since this is just a sample, we're not doing a full shawl on video here, but I have one more stitch here to do, as you can see, and I'm just gonna go through both loops like that and finish off my single crochet like that. So these are the 6 rows I'm talking about. We're going to change color at this point, and I'm going to cut this yarn off just somewhere there. Doesn't matter where, just somewhere. If you're weaving in your ends, it's probably best to cut this a little bit longer, but I'm not weaving it in, so I cut it just short enough so I don't waste too much yarn. And then we're going to lock it in like that, and then I'm going to bring in the color that we're changing it to. So for me, it's this purple color, and we're going to go ahead and do the next stitch for row 7. Okay, so now that you have your new color that you're joining to your work here, we're going to start off by doing a slip knot here. Okay, just so we have a start off to join it to the new to the old work here. And then when you have that, this is where you cut off the blue color here. We're just going to go in that stitch, and we're going to go ahead and do a slip stitch like that. Okay, and then just pull it to secure it nice like that, and then you're going to chain 1, turn your work around, and then in this very first stitch here, you're going to do your half double crochet into that space. So just like that. Okay, and then in the next stitch, you're going to do a half double crochet, and as you can see here, we're not going in the back loop, we're actually going through both like that. So this is a regular half double crochet, and we're not going in the back loop like we did earlier, but in the second row of this color, we will actually be going through the back loop. But for this first one, we're going to create a nice foundation of joining the 2 colors here. Okay, and you're going to go ahead and do this all the way to the end of the row. When you get there, I'll meet you so we can turn our work around and start the second row of the new color and the new stitch. So go ahead and do that, and I'll see you guys in a bit. This is the end of the first row of this new color, as well as the new stitch, which is half double crochet in the back loop, as opposed to the single crochet in the back loop that we did for this first color. Okay, now that we have done that, and we're all the way at the end, as you can see here, we're going to chain 1. Okay, and we're going to turn our work around, and then this is where we will be doing a half double crochet in the back loop only. Okay, so as you can see, I just did the first one there after chaining 1 and turning around, and then you're going to do the second one right there, and then you're going to pretty much repeat this pattern until you get the number of rows that you're looking to do in this color. So as you can see, it builds up really quick. This is only the second row, and as you can see, it's already wide enough compared to this stitch that we did for the blue color. Okay, so you're going to go ahead now. Remember, when you get to the end, this is the last stitch where you're going to be going through the back loop, and then you're going to go through both loops for this final stitch. Chain one, turn your work around, repeat, and you do the same when you get to this end. Now when you have the number of rows that you desire for this color, go ahead and come back to the video, and I'm going to show you how to change back to the blue color. Do the same thing we did here, but we repeat it at this side, on that side, and then we pretty much going to be going towards the finishing of the shawl. Even though this is just a sample, this will probably take you a while, so it's probably best to subscribe to the video if you're not subscribed, or to the channel, so that you can go back after a couple of days, a couple of weeks, depending on how long it takes you to build up each of these colors, and that way you don't lose the video and then don't know what to do next. But go ahead and build these up. I'm probably going to do I did 6 rows of this. I'll probably do 4 of this here, so this is 2. I'll do 2 more, and then I'll come back and show you guys how to change back to the blue, and then we'll kind of continue from there. Okay, so go ahead and build up your work, and I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so I have done 4 rows of this purple color here with my half double crochet in the back loop. The first row was half double crochet in both loops, and then the next 3 I did half double crochet in the back loop only. So as you can see, that is how it looks like. We're going to cut the yarn here, and as you can see as well, for my final stitch, so this second last stitch I went through the back loop. As you can see, this loop is here. Okay, and then for the final stitch I went through the both loops there, so then that's how it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this purple color off just like that. Okay, we're going to bring the blue in, but before we change the color, we're going to fasten this color off here tight. So as you can see, because we're doing even numbers, all our strands are on this one side except for the base, which is where the chain started here. But because we're doing even color, even rows, number of rows, we're going to have our strands all hanging on the same side like that. Okay, now that we have that, we're going to go back and put the blue back on, and it's pretty much the same way as we did when we changed to the purple color. So we're going to go and do a slip stitch, a slip knot I should say, just like that, and then we're going to go ahead and insert that in the last stitch here, somewhere there, bring it in, do a slip stitch like that, pull it, and then we're going to go ahead and do a chain 1, turn the work around, and then again, because we're changing the color, we're going to do our single crochet and going through the both loops like that, as opposed to going through the back loop only. And again, we want to create a solid base of this color changing here, so just like that. So we go ahead and do our single crochet going through both loops all the way to the end of our project, and when we get to the end is where we're gonna turn, chain 1, turn, and then start our working through the back loop only. So as you can see here, this is pretty much how it looks like. Okay, now go ahead and complete it by doing the single crochets all the way to the end of this row, and when you get there, we're going to do a chain 1, turn around, and go back the other way. So I'll meet you at the end of this row so we can do that together. Okay, so we're at the end of the row with the single crochet with the blue color. We're going to go ahead and chain 1, turn our work, and then this is where we start with our single crochet in the back loop. Okay, so we go ahead and repeat what we did here, just pretty much on the opposite side, which is just to do the exact same number of rows on this side. Alright, so I have done 6 rows of this blue color on this side. So as you can see, we now have matching rows on this side and that side, and then we have the rows in the middle. And so we're going to end our project here, and then we're going to do the borders. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the yarn right there. Okay, and again we come back with this because this is the color we're gonna be using to do our borders. So we'll first send that off here. I have the body of the shawl, in this case in a mini sample. Okay, we're going to do a slip knot to start it off like that, and then again, like we've done with all of our work, we're going to insert, but we're going to insert it inwards like this, and then we're going to do a slip stitch just like that. Now I'm going to undo this little tiny sample later so I can reuse this yarn, so I'm not actually going to cut these off. But before you do your borders, you would have had to either weave this strands into your work or knot it and cut it off. But in this case, I'm going to leave it and I'm going to kind of work it through like this because I'm going to undo it at the end of this video to be able to use this yarn for something else. So anyways, when you have your slip stitch there, you're going to chain 2, and then in this very next stitch here, you're going to do 2 more double crochets in that same stitch there, just like that. So that's the beginning there. In this next stitch here, we're going to do a slip stitch just like that. Okay, and then we're going to move on to the next space, which is not where this chain is or where this row is going. So not here, we're going to skip that, and in the next we're going to do a single crochet like that, and then in that same stitch we're going to do 3 double crochets. Okay, so that's 1, that's 2, and that's 3, like that. Okay, and then we're going to skip these here. On this next one here, we're going to do a slip stitch, oops, like that, and then in this next one here, we're going to do a single crochet first, and then we're going to do 3 double crochets in that same stitch. So that's 3 there. So this is pretty much the spacing of your border like that. And then we're going to skip this, and on this next one we're going to do a slip stitch, and then we're going to do a single crochet in that next stitch there, and then 3 double crochets in that same stitch where you did a single crochet. So 1, 2, and 3, and then in this next stitch here, you're going to do a slip stitch. And then now it brings us to the corner of our work here, and what we will do in this very corner is we'll do just like we did with the other one. We're going to do a single crochet and then 3 double crochets in that same stitch. So 1, 2, oops, and 3. Okay, and then okay, so when you have done the cluster of the double crochets here, you're going to turn your work this way so we can work along the edge here. And on this side, what you will do is this first stitch here you're going to skip. In the second stitch you're going to do a slip stitch like that, and then you're going to skip this next stitch. In the second stitch you're going to do a single crochet first, and then 3 double crochets in that same stitch. So just come closer to the camera like this. Oops. So that's 1, and then 2, and then 3. Okay, and then you're going to move on and you skip the first stitch. The second stitch you do a slip stitch just like that, and then you skip this stitch. In the second stitch you do a single crochet. Oops. You do a single crochet, and then you do 3 double crochets in that same stitch. Okay, and this is what you're going to repeat all throughout your row, this row, and then let me just finish this and I'll explain it. Okay, so this is how it should look like. So you're going to do this all along here. When you get to here, make sure you repeat what we did here, which is 3 double crochets in the corner like this, which is also how the corner looks like where we started off. You're going to do that here. Turn your work, do the same thing along here, and then repeat the corner. Turn your work, do the clusters all the way up to here. So I'll let you guys go do that. When you get to this corner here, just when you're about to connect, come back and I'll show you guys how to connect it up here, and then we should be able to be done the full body of the shawl. And then of course, if you want pockets, you do the pockets on the side and sew them in and things like that. Okay, so go ahead and finish bordering, and then I'll see you guys when you get to the end. Okay, so as you guys can see here, I have completed my borders. I've gone all around. Okay, now I'm at the end here where we're just gonna finish these off here, and then we're done. So when I've done my 3 double crochets in a cluster there, I'm just going to go ahead and do a slip stitch right in the next stitch here, and that's how I should finish it off there. Okay, and I'm gonna take my scissors. In this case, I will actually just not cut the yarn off because I'm going to be undoing this yarn. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. Okay, so when you cut your yarn off here, as you can see on this side, there are strands that you can fasten in or fasten off, or you can cut them off here. But this is pretty much how your body of the shawl should look like. It's done. And all you would need to do here, just to match up that, is make the pockets like this. So we bring this back into the focus here. So all you would do is make these pockets here, and when you have your square pockets, you sew them onto your shawl. So in this case here, we'll just sew in some pockets here, and then you will do the buttons in each pocket. We have a button on top of the pocket like that, and this is, like I said, just for decoration. And then on the side of the shawl, this is on the left side when you have these on, I put these 3 buttons like this. So there's this first one, the middle one here, and then the end. So these are the buttons that I used. I got these from Amazon Canada, and they're very cheap, so I just had these shipped to me a few weeks ago. Yeah, so you can have this put on like this. These are, like I said, these are decorational, but these you have an option to actually put them on so that you can close off your shawl so it looks like a poncho. So I'll show you guys what I mean. So if you were to have your shawl on, and let's say it looks like that, right? This is how it would be falling down your side, the front of your body. You can literally just take the buttons, and in a gap where you did your double crochet here, you have gaps where you can put the button through. Oops. Let me just see here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We want to make sure that it matches the length so that it doesn't look long on one side. So on here we will just kind of put the button on like that, and it looks like it's just a way to close off the the shawl, so it looks like a poncho. And then on the next one here we would do the same thing. So we'll just put that button there like that. So this is just another option for you. You don't have to do it like this particularly, but it's an option that you have to be able to wear your shawl with the front of it closed in like that. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So the little baby sample that we did here is completed, so you would have to do just the rest of it and then it's done. That's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, because I know when I'm making a small sample like this, you may have a lot of questions because you're not looking at the full project that I did, but this is just so I don't duplicate the work like that again. So the sample is usually easier to do. But if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to message me in the description, in the comment section below, and I'll be able to answer any of your questions. But that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful New Year's, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Ciao, ciao.